It's a spiritual. If you turn.
Now, without further ado, and having held him up for so long, this wonderful man here, from not that far away, from Wellingborough. Sorry, it's not Derbyshire again. I've done it wrong. All right. Allan Shipham is going to talk to you about direct democracy.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First to start, I'm out of my depth. Just look at this list of speakers we've got here today. Someone at the back said, "Who's Allan Shipham? He must be really important," because they've sandwiched him between Andrew Bridge and the Good Doctor now, and Ben Habib, I'm here to talk about direct democracy, and if you haven't heard of it before, you've probably seen it written down in places like that banner over there. This is a system which they use in Switzerland. And we think that this would be really good for this country, and we've already heard speakers talking about it today. First of all, what is democracy? The word has been said is demo is the people and cracy is the power. Now, a lot of people think it's just going and putting a vote in a box, putting all your hands up and counting. Unfortunately, many conversations that we have, when it comes to that polling station, they think it's a choice between Labour and Conservative. And, that's the big problem that we've got, the shell that we've got to break. And as we've heard already, we need to do it from the ground up, yeah? For a lot of people, it's just sitting there watching the sport on the telly. And that's the thing that we need to change. They're the people that we need to grab attention of, because they think that this is broken, they can't make a difference. If you think that your vote counts, it does. And we saw with the Leave referendum, whether you voted Leave or Remain, we had one of the biggest turnouts in any kind of election in this country for a long time. There's a proper definition. This is taken from the Britannica. You can find this out for yourself. What I would say is go and do your research. Don't just listen to me. I don't like being told what to do, and I'm sure you don't. Do your research and find out. Pure democracy, it's sometimes called as well, direct democracy. So direct, people, power. I want you to remember that. That's what we're trying to achieve here. Started off in ancient Greece. Everyone would gather in the town square. There'd be an issue. Someone would say, "I'm not happy about this." Someone else say, "I'm happy about it." They'd take a vote on it, show of hands, which I said earlier. Count all the hands and make a decision. Everyone went with the majority, yeah? As time moved on, people started falling out with each other. Unfortunately, direct democracy was left behind. And we got representatives. The Romans looked at it and says, "Oh, no one's getting rich with this. We need houses where people meet and discuss things and get paid loads of money." There were wars. So as these wars started to unfold around the world, direct democracy was incorporated back into some of these peace negotiations, because what they wanted was harmony. They didn't want to go and fight people. The wrong people get harmed after all. It's not the politicians, it's the people on the ground. So places like Switzerland, this is actually a very bad image there because of the darkness, but that's the forming of the Swiss Parliament based on direct democracy. And that was 1846. 176 years ago. They've been using the same system. Think about it, the Swiss are richer than we are, and they're more happier than we are. Look at the happy index of the people. It's not going. Sorry. In the UK, we had monarchy rule. So the king, thank you. Oh yeah. So the king decided what the taxes would be, and we had all these foreign wars, and we had to pay for them. So they brought in new taxes. And, in 1215, they sat down and said, this isn't working, we need something better. And what we have now is Parliament, as we've heard about. And they say it's a representative democracy. But it's the model I believe, and everyone's got their own opinion about these things, I know, is it's a plutocracy. A small group of rich people decide how we move forward with different things. And that's not right. They're not. These decisions are being made, in the back room at the Conservative club. They're being made in the union offices, like we heard about the farmers' protests being called off by the farmers' union. Well, I think we're going to hear from a farmer later, and I don't think that the farmers are too happy about that. So in the UK, we have the democracy movement, and that's what we're all associated with. So it's a movement, it's not a political party. We communicate around the country, and we're getting more and more people on board. You can join it, and you get emails like occasionally about what we're doing. We've got a political party, if that's the way that you want to go. It's called Independence for Direct Democracy, and that's actually one of the posters which has got that name on there. Me personally, I don't want to nail my flag to any political party. So although I'm a member of the movement, I'm not a member of the political party. We'll see what happens in the future. But as I'm going to show you, we're actually talking to political parties as well, which is good because we're doing it from a neutral position. I'm an independent advocate. So when I talk to people, I'm trying to promote this to people. I'm not pushing it down anyone's throat. I'm explaining it today because I think you're looking for a way out of the situation we're in at the moment, and we think this is a really good one. So, take this away. We use a platform called Block Vote. So if you're elected, as a good doctor said, to a ward, right, and something's come up, next Tuesday there's going to be a vote on something, you need to find a way to talk to all your constituents, yeah? And what we've come up with is we've got a partner called Block Vote, and it's an independent app. They call it an app. And basically you register on it. We'll need a few personal details like where you live because it relates to votes in your area. So you have to give up a little bit of information. And then when somebody puts something up, like they want to talk about park benches or, the new bypass, then you all got a say in that area what's going on. So then we can present this to whoever's making those decisions and say, well, you think this is a good idea, but we've spoke to the people and they don't. Here's the evidence. And we can back it up then. Block Vote is a simple app, as I said. You just log in. There's a test if you're a human. Don't they love those things? So you have to identify all the bridges and things like that. But it's just a bit of fun for me. Once you're in there, then there's partners. So we've got the 5-star Direct Democracy Party has now evolved into Independence for Direct Democracy. Save Our Rights, Block Vote himself, the Love Movement. These are all different organisations that signed up for it. But then, because I stood as a candidate in election earlier this year, I'm actually up there as a partner. So people in my area could log in, click on me, and then see what I'm up to in the area. Once you're in, there's votes, and it'll come up by your postcode. That's why we need your postcode. So there could be about anything going on. And Monty has posted votes on there. I have, Block Vote have. So you go on there and you can see the history. So, there's some experimenting that we did when we were setting it all up. That's still up there. It's all transparent. Your vote is completely safe. It's protected by blockchain technology, which is what they use with cryptocurrency. But it's not for gambling or anything like that. We're actually using it because it's secure. Update for November, if you haven't heard about us. I stood as election as an independent in a town council election. I didn't win, I come fourth. And then Monty, who's at the back there, give him a wave, Monty. There he goes. He stood as a parliamentary candidate in the general election. He didn't win, but we've broken the ice. So we've proved that you can do it. We went out and talked to people. What we found was there was a lot of interest in what we're talking about, what we're doing. But like I said in that first picture, when it come down to that polling station, they just wanted to vote for Labour or Conservative. And I was beaten by someone from Labour in an area where people told me they didn't like Labour. So, yeah. We've got high-profile supporters like Neil Oliver, the great Andrew Bridgen, who's covering his face there, Jude Slater. There's loads of them. Nigel Farage even talks about direct democracy. I've yet to see if it comes in through the Reform Party, but people are talking about it. There's videos and discussions. Members of the movement, including John Lockwood, Lowcock, and Neil Petrie, who's here. You might have seen Neil. Is he wave? Yes. Oh, yes, sorry. And they continue to engage in public speaking events like this. I got the short straw today. They're creating videos, and Neil wrote a book. You can't sell any today, and a lot of people have been selling books because we've sold out. There's a lot of interest in this, and there've been a lot of high-profile people who've taken copies of it as well. I'll just let you know. Marcus and I discussed direct democracies with some of our guests on YouTube podcasts as well. So we had Bill Etheridge earlier in the year. I spoke to an anarchist a couple of weeks ago. That was an interesting one. So yeah, we're trying to promote it and get more people aware of it. We went up from about 500 supporters when I started helping him about 4 months ago, and we're at 1,500 now. So, you know, the word is spreading, which is a really good thing. Most of us have also been networking with groups like Stand in the Park, the Together movement, independent political groups that have started to form because they know elections is coming next May. National residents associations as well. I was talking to Jerry from Leamington Spa, if anyone knows about him, just last week, and also the Albion Cooperative, which a lot of people are finding out about now more. Moving forward, we're spreading the word. So we're doing events like this. We've got conversations with politicians and celebrities, all you know, interested in trying to find another option and share it with the people who support them. So we're fielding local candidates in local elections, parish, town. These are the places it's all going to start. We can see it coming. You know, we just need you on board to help us with that. We'll also field candidates in national elections like mayoral and parliamentary, regional ones like that. So we're doing something, yeah. You hear about these movements and stuff, they're not doing much, but we're doing it, and we're getting good results. We're doing a democracy vote today. I'm in the back room there, it's called the green room, but we're all sitting at the front here. And if you come and see us, there's a sheet on there, and all I'm after is a tick. I'm not after your name and address and your blood group and all that. So should the UK farmers and their supporters be allowed to protest on the 19th of November? I don't know if you know, but the Farmers Union have said there's no need for a march because they're going to talk to the Labour Party. Don't shoot the messenger. So we're going to add up the votes and come back to you at the end of the day and tell you how many people voted to support that they should and how many people voted that they haven't. So please come and vote. It's one vote per person, all right?
Can I just say, one person that votes that should be going to the Labour Party, I suggest they see Mark Byford afterwards to bowl hat farm.
Okay, so Liz said, if anyone wants to go and talk to the Labour Party, they should go and have a word with Mark before they leave. So, yeah, please do that, because we're demonstrating democracy, right? This is a small community here of people who've turned up to a meeting today, but you could be doing this in your constituencies, and it could be your company, it could be your social club, your football club, whatever it is. If you want a democratic decision, you can use direct democracy to get it, and block vote being the tool.
Alan,
Yes.
sorry, over here. Surely, why do we have to ask permission to protest? If we just protest, we've got already out.
If you didn't hear, the question was, why should we ask permission to protest? I can't answer for the authorities. I'm just two meetings ago. I was sitting there with you lot, right? And what I will say is, obviously, if you're going to have a load of people walking down the street, you need to make sure roads are closed and all that kind of thing. But you're right. You're completely right. And I think you'll find later, I'm not trying to steal anyone's show, but the National Farmers Union have said no march. But I think the farmers are going to do their own. And if they are, I'm going to be there with them.
That's right.
So, what could possibly go wrong? Someone has said, and I keep using this because it's a good example, what if a minority group uses direct democracy in their area to create something that was unpopular with the majority of people, of residents in their area, or even the wider UK population? And we've had several discussions about this within the movement, and bring it on, because if this happens, all right, everyone's going to see how awful it is to live in that area, and they won't want it in their own. We're going to wake more people up. My personal opinion is it can't happen. Like, you know, if you want to talk about park benches, like I said, or the bypass, that's something local for local people to talk about, yeah? If you want to change, for example, the courts in your area, or, you know, the national religion or something like that, we all as a country need to be involved in that, and that would be a national referendum. But think about this for a minute. The Scots came to power in Scotland, the Scottish Nationals, and they gave them a referendum on independence, right? They're not independent now, yeah? They have this pretend parliament, they make these things. They've created imbalance and hostility because, you know, prescriptions are free in one part of the country and university courses but not in the others, and they're getting more and more in debt. Well, that's not a very good example of anything, yeah? The Liberal Democrats got elected to the Parliament in 2010, so they gave them a vote on the polling process that we use. It's not what the Liberal Democrats wanted. And in the end, everyone was so confused what they're talking about, they never got their way anyway. People said, just leave it as it is, yeah? And then, of course, UKIP came to power in 2014 in the European elections as the winners. And so they said, OK, we'll give you a referendum on leaving the EU. But as I point out to everyone, we're still sending them money. We have to obey their laws. We can't decide what we farm and where we fish. You know, we have to obey their laws. This isn't Brexit by any description, yeah? So, you know, what we need is when we do a referendum, we want it to count and we want it to be taken seriously and to be done properly. And how can they, what can they do to prevent direct democracy? Now, the they is what Godfrey was saying was the them from earlier, yeah, because they don't want it. They're scared of it, yeah. And we know from history that the Whigs, who were the predecessors of the Labour Party, were talking about this in the 1800s, right? We know the Conservative Party were talking about it in 2008 when they were in opposition last time. So what we need to do is make sure that we do it from the ground up, because we can field MP candidates, we can field speakers at events and stuff like that. What we need to do is make changes on the lower levels, then people will see it in place and see it in work and actually achieve it and do it. So, thank you very much for listening to me today, and thanks a lot.